See if I can get this up. Hey, everybody. Okay. Got a little PowerPoint here to help with today's presentation. Thank you, Mr. President, members of council. We're here to talk about the land preservation update for Sussex County and some of the activity that we've been working on recently, and also a look back on preservation efforts that the county's been focused on in recent years. I know we're joined here by some of our partners. Michelle's here from the Center for Inland Bays, and Mark's here from Sussex County Land Trust, who we'll hear from in a minute related to the land trust activities that we're going to discuss as well. So let me jump right into it. The public really has, in recent years, put a focus on the county's activities related to open space preservation. And it was endorsed in the county's recent comprehensive land use plan that was adopted in 2019. Here's a couple of goals that I pulled out of the plan that really reference the efforts that we're undertaking. In Chapter 5, 5.1, it says preserve, maintain, and enhance the natural resources and natural systems in the county. In Chapter 6, 6.1 says enhance the quality of life of county residents and visitors by sustaining and encouraging recreation and open space opportunities in the county. And 6.2, expand and improve the open space system of the county. So this is really endorsed through the comprehensive land use plan, something the county's done over time, but recently we've heard from the public asking for these efforts as well. Wanted to take a look back quickly at what we have done in terms of land use preservation. This goes all the way back to the budget in FY 2003. We've preserved land using funds directly from the county or from other partners. Sometimes we partner with these partners to leverage funds and allow the money to go further. A list of some of those organizations are here: the Sussex County Land Trust, Nature Conservancy, Chesapeake Conservancy, Farmland Preservation Program, and the State Delaware Division of Fish and Wildlife. Since we began this in 2003, FY 2003, the county spent $13.5 million and has preserved over 5,000 acres of land. Of course, that does include many years of farmland preservation activity or participation, joining the state in those efforts. Some recent acquisitions in 2020 and 2021 included some very unique and important properties, and I'll reference them here. We've had a focus on the Piney Neck Peninsula. The county has land out there already. It's also the location of the Delaware Botanic Gardens, which the county owned that land originally, which was donated to the Land Trust and then donated to the Botanic Gardens. And we have a facility out there on the Piney Neck Peninsula that the county uses for wastewater operations. So we have a footprint already on the peninsula. We decided to join forces with the state and the Division of Fish and Wildlife 2 years ago and preserve 9 acres, which I'll highlight on the next slide. The Jones Farm was a property located outside of the city of Lewis. We joined forces with the city and Lewis BPW to preserve 37 acres on that transaction. The Dorman Farm is a family farm owned on Route 24, consisting of 17 acres. And then the Apsher property, which was a combined property with many organizations to acquire 41 acres at the Woodland Ferry crossing location. That's now known as Nanticoke Crossing. That was a great partnership with the Land Trust and others. That's a picture of the day of the announcement of some of the participants of that announcement. Right on that property, you can see it's right on the river and kind of on a bluff that overlooks the Nanticoke. It's really, really an amazing piece of property on the western side of Sussex County. These are the two pieces I mentioned. The Dorman Farm, which is on Herring Creek and Sarah Run. This property became available, and the Center for Inland Bays really shepherded that through to the county, and then the county was able to acquire it. You can see its location on those waterways and what it means for a water quality preservation potential. The county acquired that, and We have some ideas. We haven't done anything out there yet. It's still being farmed, and the woods are preserved. But a great piece of property, which keep that in mind in the next few slides. It's important to note the location of this farm in relation to another piece of property. Piney Neck, that's on the right-hand side. You can see it's located on Pepper Creek. It's on Piney Neck Road, which is the same location of some of the other county properties and state-owned properties that are already preserved in that location. This is a great piece of property with waterfront and a shoreline. And the state has some ideas for some active recreational amenities on that property in the future, perhaps maybe some camping and kayak launch type things to be determined at some point in the future. We joined forces with them, and that property was purchased on a 50-50 percentage basis. Okay, so the big announcement today are these 4 properties that we are going to highlight in our recent acquisitions or negotiations that have now turned into acquisitions. We'll start with the Dorman Family Farm, tract number 2, and we're calling it tract number 2 not to confuse with the previous Dorman reference. These 2 pieces are part of the same family, and they're contiguous to each other, and I'll highlight that here in a minute. Dawson Brothers tract, that's on Route 24, consisting of 40 acres. The Jones family tract, which is on Conaway Road, west of Millsboro, 47 acres. And then Hopkins Preserve, which is located on Sweetbriar Road, 51 acres. Today we're announcing that we are preserving over 150 acres to the tune of $5 million in county funding. And I'll go into details now for each of those properties. Okay, this is the Dorman tract located off 24, and let me highlight the current acquisition is there in yellow. As I mentioned before, we did already purchase the property just to the south of that, highlighted in red. So now we've got 2 combined pieces, roughly 30 acres on Herring Creek and Sarah Run. A very beautiful piece of property, obviously right at the headwaters of some very important waterways. This is another shot of that looking south. To the right of the property, you can see Route 24. Further up in the corner, you can see Burton's Pond. So 30 acres of that property there, which to be determined on what we're going to do with that. Access is, for the public access potential, is a question of entranceways off of Adeldot Road. So you know what that consists of. We are in those preliminary discussions. Okay, this is the Dawson Brother tract. This is a piece of property located on Route 24. It's 40 acres. It's a triangle piece. To the right, this road here is Gull Point Road. And to the left, this is Route 24. Looking south-southeast, this is the Indian River leading out to the bay. And a very interesting piece of property. You know that the development pace in the Route 24 Long Neck Oak Orchard area is at a heightened level. So this was certainly something that I think the county was interested in for that potential of preservation. It's got an island of woods in the middle of the property. I'll change slides here. You can see now looking further west, the power plant in the background and that island of trees. And the amount of road frontage there on Route 24 is quite a distance, and it's adjacent to the Nanticoke Indian Center, not to be confused with the Nanticoke Museum. And this is just east of Route 24 and Route 5, a great piece of property for the county to preserve. Okay, moving down to the Jones tract. This is the Jones family heirs piece of property. This is 47 acres located west of Millsboro. It's mostly farmland with some woods. This is surrounded by the state-owned Midlands Wildlife Area, and a really interesting piece of property because of its water quality potential. It's located on Shoals Branch, which eventually leads into Ingram's Pond, and then Betts Pond, which flows into the Indian River. A great potential here for potential water quality project in the future. This is interesting because there were competing offers that the family had to consider, and once the county stepped into the conversation, the county heir, or the family heirs decided to go with a preservation project with the county, even though our offer was at appraised value, which was lower than some of the other offers. But they did that for the sake of preservation and conservation, and also to honor their parents, Howard and Minnie Jones, and the sons, Charles and Ray. So a family that decided to preserve and conserve by joining with the county to allow us to purchase this piece of property. By the way, these pictures are all taken in the last 2 weeks by the county drone. So we went out and flew the properties to get some real-time pictures. You can see this property is being prepared for the spring planting. And then our landmark property in today's announcement is what we're calling the Hopkins Preserve. This is 51 acres located east of Lewis. You can see this property is currently a farm with some wooded land on the surrounding areas. It's located on Sweetbriar Road, and it's also contiguous to the Lewis and Georgetown bike path, which is right here. This is a farm that is owned by the Hopkins family, a well-known family in the farming community in Sussex County and beyond. Mr. Walter Hopkins and his wife Jenny are here in the audience. Thank you for joining us today. This is a really interesting story. Mr. Hopkins is a fourth-generation farmer known for grain and dairy production at the farm. Some of you may have indulged in their ice cream as well. So they currently farm this property, but had an idea that they would like to preserve the property and entered discussions with the Sussex County Land Trust, who was able to really foster that relationship to the point where we could start talking about acquisition. I should mention that Mr. Schaefer and Mr. Riley serve on the Land Trust today as the county representatives, and we're a part of this discussion. What's remarkable about this piece of property is not only its location, and you can see contiguous to current development, but Mr. Hopkins and family decided to discount this property by 50% of appraised value. And on eastern Sussex County, Delaware, that is a tremendous amount of financial say it for me, please.
Philanthropy, you got it.
Philanthropy, thank you. I screwed up my line there. But in return for a 50% discount, the family would really like the county and along with the Land Trust to foster this property into something that looks like an open space and public access outdoor area for the public to enjoy, something being located on the bike path of a trailhead, some walking paths, maybe some picnic areas, maybe even a fishing pond to enjoy the property and be able to get outdoors. You can see from this perspective, looking towards the south, the dairy farm here with the famous blue silos as you drive down Route 9. And again, Sweetbriar Road here, and then the current bike path that is contiguous to the property. Another viewpoint which really shows the crossing here at Sweetbriar with the bike path and just how large the property is, 51 acres again, of mostly farmland, active farming taking place. So I think it goes without saying how these things come together. It's not always perfect. It's not always an easy recipe. But when you have a willing owner that is able to be able to make this type of donation and be willing to make this donation for the sake of preservation and conservation, it should really be heralded for those reasons and for all the public to be able to enjoy for years and years to come. So now that we own the property, it will be managed by the Land Trust, and with that partnership, we will start the process of what do we want the property to look like and how will that be maintained. And to say a few words related to that, I've asked Mark to come forward and speak a little bit about the land trust, the vision, and also some of the funding that they have earmarked for this purposes to get this project started. So Mark Schur, Executive Director of Land Trust, come up and say a few words for you, please.
Thank you, Todd. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning, all. We're really excited to be here, and on behalf of our entire board, want to thank all of you for our long-standing partnership with the county. We're excited by what has happened. Just briefly, I want to track along with what Todd had mentioned with the county's involvement. The Land Trust was founded in 2002. And during that time, we've been involved in about 20 different projects. We've raised ourselves about $4 million to support those projects. And we have about 5,800 acres that we've had some role in preserving over that time. As Todd had mentioned, there are a lot of partnership, and really all of our projects over this period of time have been partnership projects, and the county has been kind of front and center with all that. The Delaware Botanic Gardens, as Todd mentioned, is probably one of the flagship ones. It was owned by the county, went to the Land Trust. Former Chair Dennis Forney helped to find a partner in the Delaware Botanic Gardens, and those folks have just done an amazing job. It's beyond anyone's expectation. It's truly a treasure in the county. I mean, that's not only a regional quality botanic gardens, it's probably getting to a national stage. It's really, really impressive. Out west side, we have what we call Ickford Park. That was acquired back in 2008. That has two very important farm structures, one of which dates back to the 1720s. It is the longest standing, it's the oldest standing brick structure in the county. Very important historical resource, and that was actually there. That was built when that part of the land was still in Maryland. So, that's got a great history of the Cannon family. We have an adjacent property. We moved the other farmhouse. We call that the Litchford farmhouse due to the Litchfords who we bought that property from. That goes back to 1912, and our goal is to be able to interpret both of those periods of agricultural history, and we're working on that. The county, just by the way, owns the ag rights to that, so they've been very helpful with that. So we have that more recently. Todd mentioned Nanticoke Crossing. We're finishing the master planning on that now for public access, right next to Woodland Ferry. Just an amazingly beautiful property. And then down the road from Hopkins Preserve, we have Hudson Park. And on that one, we are working to develop a trailhead that will be able to tie in Hudson Park to Hopkins Preserve along that trail corridor from Lewis to Georgetown. So a lot of good things happening there. With Hopkins Preserve, I think with all that as background, we're really pleased with the way that has worked. As Todd mentioned, it's been a great partnership. The Land Trust will hold the conservation easement on that property. We will have responsibility for working in partnership with everyone to vision a preserve, a nature preserve that will be publicly accessible, and then our job will be to manage that. And all of that takes money. And I have to say that, while we've been working and, you guys have just done a tremendous job in funding the acquisition, we have been busy working on the side of the development and the easement management. To date, we have a lot of different donations to that cause. We have two corporate sponsors that have helped us, Dogfish Head, Boston Beer, and Shell Brothers have both made contributions. We have donations from a number of different private individuals, ranging in all shapes and sizes, about a dozen of them so far. The most significant, and the one I want to give particular attention to, is a $250,000 private contribution that has been made by the Horn family. Longtime Sussex County family. The family has made that in memory of the parents, Bayard R. and Violet Sis Horn, who felt very strongly about the family's roots in Sussex County, and they just wanted to give back. So, that really jumpstarts us tremendously towards really being able to endow this property for long-term management. So I think, as Todd and I have talked, we've taken this holistically. We've looked at the front end to acquire it, and then how it will be that preserve will be implemented, and then it will be managed. So we're really excited about that. Just a couple things to end here. First, I want to thank all the members of our organization, the Land Trust. Heidi Gilmore, our chair, could not be here, so thank her. Casey Kenton, Ron Vickers have been instrumental in that, and Councilman Schaefer and Councilman Riley have been tremendous members. We owe you guys a lot, and really thank you for your support for all of that. Want to thank the founders, if you will, of the Hopkins family. We mentioned Walt and Jenny, who are in the back. We're really excited by the opportunity to implement the vision that Walt had when he came to us. You know, these conversations started a while back. They had approached former Councilman I.G. Burton, had some discussions with him. It came to us. There's been a lot of people involved with this ending up in this day. So we're really excited to make this happen. And really thank this council for your support. This is just tremendous. And, you know, we are in a time right now where the state conservation management entities have narrowed their focus. They focus now primarily on lands that are adjacent to their existing holdings. I was a state employee for many years. It wasn't always the case. But I understand that's still a very big job, and it costs a lot of money. But what it does is it leaves a big gap, particularly in a county this big, of areas that are really important that might not get funded. So it means others have to step up. And you guys have done that. We're glad to be partners with you. So we want to thank you all for all of your support for this. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark. So to reiterate today, 4 pieces of property the county is acquiring, $5 million, 150 acres, through the generous contributions from families like the Jones family, the Hopkins family, through partnerships with the Land Trust, the Center for Inland Bays, and certainly the support of this county council and the money that goes towards this acquisition for preservation and conservation purposes. Really, the whole announcement is a landmark day if you take into total what we're doing and where we're doing it. It's something very exciting. I know we've all worked hard towards this, and the public's asked for it, and now to be able to deliver to the level that we are is really exciting. So any questions or comments?
I'd just like to thank
Schaefer.
all the families that were so generous, Walt and his beautiful wife, and Mark for all of his work. It's tremendous what they do.
Anyone else?
Good
Thank
job.
you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your support. We could not have done it without the county council's support in all these endeavors. Let me slide